Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Let's crack on with today's first story. Now today's first story comes from Public Set 7296 and is titled, Am I the Arsehole for taking my daughter out of dance because of her mother ruining it for her? So my daughter is 5 and she's been dancing since last year. Her mum is a former gymnast and wanted her to do that, but my daughter didn't like it at all and prefers taking tap and ballet classes instead. I knew this bothered my wife, but I didn't expect her to alienate herself from the other mums and the instructor. She says she feels like our daughter isn't being used where she should be, and that her and the instructor constantly get into it with each other, and my wife feels like she has knowledge with her gymnast background, and that's why the instructor should take note of what she is saying. My wife is very competitive and I do admire her drive for that, but it seems like the pushback between her and the instructor has caused a lot of tension in the class. This has caused the other mums to get mad when my wife would bring up how their daughters were being treated in comparison to ours, and now the entire experience is ruined for our daughter. Since the other mums don't like my wife, they no longer invite our daughter to play dates and other outings, which the girls talk about in class, and it makes my daughter come home to me and cry about how she wants to go on play dates again with her friends. I spoke to my wife about it and she said that she will make friends in kindergarten and that it's not that serious. But this is a studio she plans for our daughter to attend for years. I don't understand how she doesn't get how her conflict with the other parents won't cause our daughter to feel excluded. She told me that the other mums are rude and she will always stand up for herself and our daughter, and that I need to stop being scared of them. My daughter doesn't even want to go to class anymore. She cries when I get off work and pick her up from class. The parents and instructors are cordial with me when I come inside for pickup, and one even invited my daughter to her daughter's birthday party but specified that I be the one to take her. When I told my wife this, she blew up and got very upset, saying that it's weird that she specified I take our daughter and she can't go. I told her that's ridiculous, but she wouldn't budge, and it so happened to fall on a work day, so I couldn't take her. I was fed up and my daughter kept complaining about hating the studio and not liking dance, so I disenrolled her when I went to go pick her up, and she was crying about never wanting to come back. When I went home and told my wife, she got mad and said I'm an evil asshole and that I should have spoken to her first before doing that. I told her that she is the one that ruined our daughter's experience with her fighting the parents and instructors and alienating our daughter from the other girls. She kept saying that I'm the only one wrong and that I'm an asshole since it's the best studio in town and the others have wait lists for months. Am I the asshole? Absolutely not the arsehole from me, and this is so incredibly sad for your daughter, that it sounds like your wife is trying to live her dreams through your daughter and push her to do something, and has ruined the experience for her now. And instead of stepping back and realizing your wrongs and realizing that you're not only isolating yourself from the other mothers, you're also isolating your daughter from her friends. I feel so sorry for that daughter. But yeah, to me, you absolutely did the right thing in this one. It's a not the arsehole from me, but Stin555 says not the arsehole, but your wife is. While she may be a former gymnast, her role in this particular scenario was to be your child's mum and allow your daughter to have her own personal experience in the class and make friends with her fellow dance class students. Your wife allowed her ego to lead instead of her love for her child and the opportunity to learn something new. Side note, your wife needs to learn how to play nicely with the other kids in the sandbox. AKA make friends, not enemies, with other mums. Yonderboy111 says not the arsehole and quotes, daughter comes home to me and cries. It's not that serious. Other mums are rude. She kept saying I'm the only one wrong. Then goes on to say, don't you see that your wife is a narcissist? Avartna says not the arsehole, your wife is a perfect example of everything that is wrong with youth sports, and she's ruined gymnastics for your daughter. You are doing the right thing, and your wife needs to get a clue. Quickly. SusCCMMP, who says, it sounds like your wife would have continued to make it a toxic environment for her, and it would only get worse as she gets older. I was a dancer and I've taught dance, and I've seen parents act in the way you're describing your wife's behavior. And it doesn't just ruin the activity for the kid, it can seriously affect their self-esteem and their relationship with their parent. However, I would worry that she's going to be like this with any activity your daughter does, and she's eventually going to want to do something else like play a sport or take art classes or something, and if this keeps repeating, she'll never get to enjoy any kind of hobby. Madam Allura says, not the arsehole, and I will gently point out that your wife is unwell. Her behavior is toxic and emotionally abusive. This is huge because it will affect your daughter's self-esteem in the long term, and your wife's behavior will continue until someone nips it in the bud. Is family therapy an option? If so, I would insist on it. Mum needs to get a grip on her own need to control and manipulate and gaslight. You need some tools for enforcing a healthy home environment, and daughter needs some child-friendly therapy to repair the damage that is being done. You have a long road ahead of you, but we internet strangers are cheering you on. And one more from Coffee for Cobwebs, who says, not the arsehole, but your wife is the arsehole. She is absolutely living vicariously through your daughter, and if she doesn't stop this behavior now, it'll only get worse. You need to have a serious conversation with her, and she needs to get professional help to move past this behavior, or you need to get your daughter away from her. Being competitive is great, but forced competitiveness is only going to bring out more anxiety and distrust of social activities in your daughter. Your wife is making it a her versus them situation, and that doesn't help your daughter learn how to be part of a team, and not be the center of attention all the time. In life, you aren't the main character all the time. Plus, pushing a child physically before they are ready can lead to serious injuries. Your daughter is 5. She's going to change what she likes 1,000 times between now and when she leaves the nest. It doesn't matter if she's good at it or not. She needs to be allowed to be a kid and learn to be in an environment where it's okay to make mistakes and change your mind. She needs to feel supported and not pressured. A culture of being the best destroys people in adulthood who are so paralyzed with fear about making mistakes or being bad at something that they can't cope with change or failure. The reality is none of us are good at everything we set out to do. Then OP went on to update the post 2 months later, which says, "Hey everyone, didn't expect that this post needed an update, but sadly things have been pretty bad these past 2 months since making that post. A quick recap is that my wife got into conflict with instructors and parents at our daughter's studio, causing her to be alienated, and in return I unenrolled my unhappy daughter from classes. I felt a bit conflicted if I did the right thing, but after reading your responses I felt content I made the right choice. I even showed her comments, but she refused to look at my phone for long. I thought after getting mad, my wife would be able to get over this and see my side, but unfortunately, things became very bad. She told me a week after she was going to enroll our daughter back in gymnastics like she had initially wanted, and my daughter overheard this, saying she didn't want to and started crying. My wife completely ignored this and went on talking to me saying she's sick of me enabling quitting and that our daughter needs a better role model. I was sick to watch her ignore our crying daughter and told her that we already tried gymnastics and our daughter didn't like it, and she said it will be different this time and that her word is final. We kept arguing about this, and she went on to enroll our daughter into gymnastics again and started taking her while I was at work. I was furious that she couldn't respect my wishes, but she said I wasn't respecting her. I told my wife that she has control issues and is trying to live through our daughter, and this made her extremely upset. I recommended therapy like a lot of commenters said, and this set her off. She started accusing me of infidelity, saying that the mother at my daughter's old studio, who specifically asked that I bring my daughter and not my wife, is the reason I'm starting issues for no reason with her, and that she found it weird that she specially asked for me and not her, and that means something more. I said that's because all the mums hate her and didn't want her around, and she cursed at me horribly, saying disgusting things I can't type, but I am shocked I married someone so vile. She wasn't always like this. She was a kind, caring woman before this whole gymnastic ballet fiasco started, and her tiger mum side came out. I know it's crazy, and I wish I could say different, but I'm seeing this heading towards divorce. We haven't slept in the same bed for 3 weeks, and she won't talk to me about anything other than the house, our daughter, and the dog. I'm embarrassed to tell anyone this, because I find it so bizarre and weird that so much conflict has stemmed from something as innocent as sports. So yeah. Again, I just find this whole post incredibly sad, and it reminded me of a friend I had in my high school. One of my only friends I had whilst I was going through the whole bullying thing, but they was very, very close to me, and we used to talk at lunchtimes, and we used to just sit around and, talk Pokemon and various crap like that. But as we got to know each other more, we started to open up about our experience, like me with the bullying, and he was telling me about, because he used to play violin and he used to take classes at the school and always has done all through his school. He was telling me about how his mum always wanted him to play the violin, and he didn't want to anymore, but she kept pressuring him by saying, you've done it all through lower school, middle school, and now why are you wasting it? You got the opportunity to become big in the violin world, if you like. I can remember him just telling me, and the sad expressions on his face about that, like he really didn't like it, and he used to pretend to go to these classes in his high school. And unfortunately, nothing happened while I was in high school, and we sort of broke contact after we left school, but we talked for a little bit over social media a few years back, and I know he's doing well now. He actually lives in Portugal, has a wife, kids, and he teaches English there. Because I did ask him if he still plays the violin, and he says, no, I gave that up as soon as I was able to leave. I just found that incredibly sad that all that time he was pressured into doing it, even though he didn't want to, and he was sort of manipulated and guilt-tripped in different ways. I didn't want to ask about the relationship with the parents because it was a few years since we actually spoke, so I thought it'd be a bit rude, but hey. Again, incredibly sad story, but what do you guys make of this one? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Have you ever faced anything like this in your past? Let me know if you want to, of course, never any pressure. And let's move on to another story. And our next story comes from Automatic Bar 2136, who says, am I the arsehole for bailing on my brother's wedding last minute? And yes, it does come with an update as well. I, 29 female, have been working as a wedding planner for about 6 years now. Last year, my brother B, 29 male, has asked me to plan his wedding for him. And as his sister, I was happy to do so for free. Everything was going pretty well until maybe a week and a half before the wedding, when B told me to remove our little brother J, 24 male, from the guest list. I tried asking him why, but the only answer he would give me is that J was being stubborn and selfish. Of course, I had to ask J about this. Apparently, B showed up at his apartment and offered to let J attend the wedding as long as he doesn't act so gay. So J, of course, took offense to that and told B to fuck off, probably leading him to calling me and uninviting him. B has always been harsh to J. He's the type of manly man that despises anything feminine. So when J came out to us, B's bullying got worse and worse, leading to there being a pretty big rift between them. I've been trying to get the two of them to work out their differences, but B won't even try to hear out what J has to say to him. I decided that uninviting J to the wedding was the last straw, and that I'm not going to keep helping B if he's going to continue to act like an arsehole to our own little brother. So I sent B all the info for everything I planned at that point. The contacts for the venue, the catering, decorations, everything. Then I told him that if he's going to keep treating J like shit, then he should plan his own wedding because I'm not going to. B told everyone that I bailed on him last second and that the wedding would have to be postponed because of me. As you'd expect, people were mad. Relatives were bombarding me about how important this would be for B and how I'm ruining an important milestone in his and his girlfriend's life. When I tried to explain myself, I got people telling me that I shouldn't have done something so drastic over a petty squabble between brothers. Am I the arsehole? And we'll start off with Melmoth Milton, who says not the arsehole. B acted like an arsehole and caused trouble. B put you in a position where you had to choose. You chose to protect your other brother. You did the right thing. Defend yourself against people who complain. Hego says not the arsehole. He shouldn't be garnering any sympathy either. Not inviting your brother to the wedding isn't a petty squabble. That's relationship ruining. Your relatives are just so dense or bigoted as well. They shouldn't even have to delay their wedding either. All those relatives that's blasting you could easily help take over the duties. Good on you for sticking up with a non-arsehole brother. Dirty Wet Dreams says not the arsehole. Someone had to stand up for your little brother Jay against the homophobics of the world like B. You already did the work on his wedding. He's the one who abandoned and bailed on Jay as family. Is your little brother out to the whole family? If so, I would just go ahead and tell those who chastise you that you are sick of B being homophobic against his own family. Homophobia is not a petty squabble. Jay needs an ally, and family who abandoned each other over sexual orientation is frankly disgusting. Bengal Barbecue says, not the arsehole, it wasn't a petty squabble. It was outright controlling rudeness on B's part. By a week before the wedding, I'm sure most of the pre-wedding planning had been done and postponing didn't need to happen. It just meant more actual work for the bride and disrespectful groom. Sucks to be a crappy brother. So then OP done a small update on this post and then a full update which we'll cover straight after. So it says, it's been about 5 days since B told our family I bailed on him, and a few new things have popped up. Mainly, B's fiance has told everyone it was her who decided to postpone the wedding, and it's not because they couldn't finish planning. She said that this current situation with Jay has brought up some past issues in their relationship, and that she needs some more time to talk to B about it and reflect before fully committing to marrying him. One of the few times I've ever seen B express vulnerability is with his fiance. I'm hoping that she can be the one to talk some sense back into him, and hopefully even talk through his hatred of Jay. I've seen some comments say that B coming to Jay's apartment to invite him shows that B really does care about him being there. I thought I should at least tell Jay that, even if it may be untrue. His response was, "Appreciate the sentiment, but B has never given me any incentive to be part of his life. If he really did care about me, then his invite wouldn't be attached to an insult, but instead to an apology." So OP's full update says, after B's fiance's G 29 female announcement, the drama died down a bit. I was a little concerned because both her and B were completely silent for a good month. No texts, no calls, it was like they disappeared. During this time, I took the advice of some commenters and apologized to my J for trying to force a better relationship between him and B, and for brushing off the bullying that B put him through. He said that he forgives me, but I still want to work on being a better sister. A few weeks ago, I got a message from G asking if we could meet at a restaurant and if I could bring Jay with me. I asked why, especially after all the silence, and she told me that her and B wanted to talk. I informed Jay about this. I wanted to know what was going on, so I was going to go, but I told him that he didn't have to go with me if he didn't want to. He told me that he thinks he'll be able to handle it, and that if B treats him the same, he'll just leave. Me and Jay went together. When we got there, I could sense that B was feeling nervous. He looked like he was about to cry. Me and G started the conversation with just catching up with each other on what's been happening since we last met. At some point though, B cracked. He took a deep breath and looked at G. B started a speech about how we grew up, and my mind was racing trying to figure out where this was going. Until suddenly I just heard the words, "I'm bisexual," and everything cleared up. B went on to talk about how he's felt needed to hide this his whole life. He was envious towards Jay for being able to express himself so openly, which led him to start bullying Jay and pushing him deeper and deeper into the closet. It ended up with him apologizing to Jay and asking for forgiveness. Jay was quiet for this whole talk until he felt it was his turn to speak. He said, "B, I hear you. I understand where you're coming from, but none of that excuses the shit you've put me through since we were teens. I can and will try to forgive you, but it's going to take a lot of effort on your end." The rest of the night was a bit of a blur for me. There was alcohol involved, but I do recall B and Jay cry hugging by the end, which I was very glad to see. Jay says that there's still a bit of awkwardness between the two of them, but with time he thinks he might just see B as a nice older brother again. As for the wedding, it's back on, but with an undecided date as of right now, and yes, Jay is going to be allowed in this time. He can even bring his boyfriend along with him. He's even decided to have Jay be a groomsman and told him, "You can act as gay as you want, Jay," which I don't think is the best thing to say, but I like the sentiment. Now, I'm going to turn this one straight to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let's have one more little story which someone sent to me on Twitter and said, "What's your opinion on this?" And it's from a throwaway account which says, "Am I the arsehole for telling my fiance that he ruined our vacation when he decided to take the kids? My fiance, 41, is divorced. He shares custody of his 11-year-old and 7-year-old with his ex-wife. We've planned a vacation to a resort, and I took care of all the reservations and payment, but first I had to make absolutely sure he was free on that date. 3 days vacation. He gave me the okay to go ahead and proceed with booking. 2 days before the vacation, his ex called him, asking if he'd have the kids after she got into an accident and broke her leg. He took them immediately for the weekend. As soon as I saw them, I lost my temper on him. He said it was okay and that he'd either take them with us or postpone. I had a huge argument with him, and he said that I was ruining the vacation by this reaction, but I told him that he ruined the vacation the minute he took the kids off his ex. I ended up going to stay with my friend after that. He's upset with my reaction, saying that I'm judging him by his circumstance and making him feel bad for wanting to make sure his kids were taken care of. Edit. Looks, this isn't the first time. He's done this before and caused me to cancel a lot and cost me money and time off work as well. And to me in this one, it comes down to simple priorities. His kids are the priority in that situation. They're his kids, he needs to take them in, and it's as simple as that really. And he even said the opportunity was there that he'd take them with you both, which I'm assuming and hoping you're looking forward to being part of those kids' lives as well. It's a great opportunity for you to get involved with them further. And I can probably understand the disappointment that you was looking forward to some alone time on a vacation, but shit happens like this, and the children are just the priority in this. Comfortable C says you're the arsehole. Your boyfriend's ex broke her leg. Pretty sure she didn't do this on purpose and needed your boyfriend, the father of the 2 kids, to step up and take care of them. Sorry about your weekend plans, but his kids needs trump your solo weekend away. This is what vacation insurance is all about. MDM says you're the arsehole. I don't think you're ready to be with a man that has children. You get some leniency when they hit 18, but these are the rules. Kids come first. Kids come before your spouse, even their parent. Kids come before vacation. Kids come before you buying clothes. Kids come before sleep. Kids even come before eating for quite a few years. Anytime you think he chose his kids over me, you run up to him and give him a great big hug and say, thank you for being a great father, even though sometimes I can be a raging, selfish child. And let's have one more from PogoSticks87 who says, sorry to disappoint you, princess, but his kids trump you in this situation. Ex broke her leg. She didn't do that on purpose. Your reaction is so entitled and spoiled. Sure, you're not a wee bit jealous. You're the arsehole. He needs a fiance, not a pouting child. Now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, support, and time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for getting involved, and hopefully I will see you, a cheeky so-and-so, in the next one. Take care and much love.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows. Okay, I know that today